Will this kill jobs? Will this impact lives and livelihood?
She is working on a new world model for robotics along the lines of just how to train humanoids. She's 15 and a half.
But my creative team is one person.
Every job, every single job, you have to be building stuff today. Otherwise, honestly, I think people are going to be irrelevant. And those are the jobs that are going to get cut first.
But we're not AI optimists, but we're human optimists, right? And therefore, human intelligence, human effort will be going to things that are truly human problems to solve at scale. And
When it comes to AI talent, what do you look for? What kind of AI talent if you were to hire? Welcome to ET Digital Conversation with the Mumbai Tech Week Founders team. Today, we're not just doing yet another generic future of tech conversation. We're asking the questions young India cares about. Will AI create jobs or eat them out? Are freshers losing the first ever rung on the job ladder? Has policy uncertainty become one of the biggest risks founders in India face today? Today, there is, on one hand, there is the fear of AI killing jobs, losing a lot of money for a lot of other people, opportunities. But the other hand, it's also become the minimum required qualification. Earlier, an HR head would ask you, do you know MS Office, Excel, PowerPoint and all that. Today, hiring is how much of AI do you know? Which tools do you really know about AI? But when you go about hiring someone, if you were to talk to a 21-year-old, what would you advise this 21-year-old? Should they prioritize a degree? Should they prioritize going and attending, learning things from a boot camp? Should they take up apprenticeship or build a portfolio of activities to as a resume and then go about applying for jobs? What works better for someone who wants to join a startup? I mean, if I can start with you, Naiyya, and then we'll take it around the...
I think nothing better than being part of an early stage founding team, right? It teaches you a lot.
In a way, apprenticeship or an...
Apprenticeship and internships are one of the best ways to learn. And you know, when you're choosing and looking at sort of who, the quality of peers, we talk a lot about the quality of talent density, not quantity, right? Usually in most startup environments and early stage founding team environments, the quality of the talent density is phenomenal, right? You pretty much choose some of the best to come together to build something brave and something phenomenal. So I would highly, highly recommend apprenticeship or an internship as it is more traditionally called.
That work. When it comes to AI talent, what do you look for? What kind of AI talent if you were to hire?
I met a person who lives in the outskirts of Bangalore, state of Karnataka. For her, it takes about 90 minutes to get into Bangalore, and then let's not talk about how much time within Bangalore. And she is working on a new world model for robotics, along the lines of just how to train humanoids. She's 15 and a half years old. So where I'm going with this is, in the AI world, the only thing that matters is have you or are you building something no matter what age you are. And Deepak, today the bar to do that is so low, and anybody and everybody should be doing that. Whether you do it on your own, as an internship, as a company, as a project. We meet kids all the time ranging from like at 16, 18, 19, 20, 21 who are just building stuff all the time. And by the way, even for at least for me personally, and I'm sure it's all of us, I spend give and take about 30 to 90 minutes a day building stuff myself now. I have never written a code in my line of code in my life. But
now you don't need to.
But I'm building stuff, right? So I'm building tools, various tools that I need for my work. And often I'm building on the go because you can now do it on Cloud Code on the phone as well. So what I look for in I think what all founders these days are looking for is, what have you built so far? It doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter what stage of career you are. It doesn't even matter, like I go to the extent of what role you're going to do, which is even if you're going to join an AI company as a finance person, what have you built using one of these tools so far? And can you demonstrate any ability to further do it. I think it's the biggest skill.
Are you looking at people with understanding of usage of AI, or are you looking at people who have an understanding of not just usage and adoption of AI, but using it to build something? You're looking for a builder mindset, are you?
Absolutely. I think universally 100% of the...
But does it apply to across the function in HR, finance, and admin, and ops, everyone?
Every job, every single job, you have to be building stuff today. Otherwise, honestly, I think people are going to be irrelevant. And those are the jobs that are going to get cut first.
But wasn't builder's mindset supposed to be in those who are building products?
I think the new AI world, that's the reality. That everybody has to have that mindset.
Does that apply in EdTech?
No, I'll answer this point. So I think when you said builder mindset was only for products,
More high agency mindset.
only reason was earlier they could not build. Like a finance person could not. I mean, it takes us 9 days to close our books for the month. I think yesterday the finance lead came up with a solution that I can close it in 3 days. Because I will get this, I will check, and I will get this thing done. And he had to think on his own, but he could do it today. So I think what Akrit was saying is important, that I think in today's world, the biggest value or the trait that I look for is exactly high agency and curiosity. If you have these two things, if you're curious about solving a problem, today you don't have an excuse to not be able to solve the problem. And I think that's would lead to two things. One is every individual try to make their lives easier using AI in the day-to-day activity, whether you have finance, HR, legal, or even business development and sales. But two, it will also spur up a fair amount of increased entrepreneurship. People will start creating smaller teams, smaller work, some small products, and start seeing the traction of those. So you will see both the event happening. Some people will lose job, but they may come back in the entrepreneurial ecosystem. And I mentioned it someplace that today the bar of starting up and the threshold of starting up hasn't been lower than ever in the history. But the bar of sustaining in the world of AI hasn't been, as an entrepreneur, hasn't been higher than ever in the history. Today it's easy to start, but very difficult.
Because entry barrier is broken with AI. So like he said, he hasn't coded, but he's building stuff. So you can do without having to code.
And it's democratized. I mean, if I look at my, with my new company, right, there's a lot of creative output that is required, from a consumer perspective, right? You're probably like creating more than 500 to about 600 creatives and, videos, etc. on almost a fortnightly basis. But my creative team is one person. One person. The reason that can be achieved is because he is using Claude, he's using Higgsfield, he's using Eleven Labs, he's using a bunch of tools to basically amplify his ability to create by a 100x, right? And that is what we look for. I think everybody here is saying that it's the builder mindset is a reflection of high agency, a high ability to get stuff done and to take it to scale.
In the last 2 weeks, if you've seen the convocations held at any of the undergrads in the US, there have been people like Eric Schmidt coming up and vouching for AI, or at least are telling the students that you need to understand the importance of AI. In all the convocation speeches that have had people vouching for or advocating AI, they've got biggest boos. They've been booed out and saying, don't tell us. Is there a perception now building for AI being the negative impact of AI, because the perception is also building that AI is losing jobs? Or where do you think lies the balance, if there is a need for one?
So, there was a post about a few weeks back. Yeah, so it was that guy. It was Dylan Patel, who's the semiconductor analysis guy. He said it on a podcast about 4 weeks back. And ironically, I was in SF that same time, and I observed this myself, where he said that, quote unquote, basically this is what he said, that Sam and Dario particularly are doing a terrible job at their interviews. Because in every interview, they're coming out and saying it's going to change the world, AI is here to completely disrupt everything. And they're taking such an extreme positive view on AI that it is actually really disturbing the rest of America. I think that's what you're seeing, what's happening. which is that there is, in fact, yesterday I was talking to somebody where somebody said that in America now there are two types of people, broadly. One who live in the West Coast, who basically love and are all about AI, and one who live everywhere else who are absolutely hating this. Because the idea is coming for your jobs and you're not going to be part of the economy. Honestly, the 3 IPOs that are coming up are going to create so much wealth disparity. And funnily, one after the other, right? It's like 15 days, $3 trillion IPOs, and suddenly everybody is going to be so wealthy in San Francisco. Homes right now are going at 50% premium in main SF. So all of these things combined, I think, is spooking everybody else out who's missing out, and that inequality is so much. I guess it's a new reality for America as a country particularly, right? Where they are suddenly experiencing all of this. It's a real challenge and a problem of how do you get the narrative a little better. I think it needs to be communicated a lot better to say that, look, this is going to help everybody and everybody is going to rise with the tide rather than only a few people at the top.
But does just saying make a difference?
No, because that's a reality. The point is that absolutely, 100%. It's going to lead to a...
If few people are needed, like she gave an example, only one person can produce those 40, 50 or 800 creatives. Today, $1 billion organization of just one person is a reality. New York Times has also written about
I had to have one more person, unfortunately, but just one point I'll add to this one.
it. Was the brother of that founder. Yeah.
So when let's say Excel came in, it used to take 6 days to do an analysis in the financial services industry, and then Excel came in, PowerPoint came in, it became better. Do you think the number of jobs in the financial services industry have come down or gone up?
No, it's all true. I'm just saying the perception of it.
Yeah, I'll give you one more point. They say radiology job will disappear because now radiologists don't need to study it and the radiology can be read from AI. But perhaps there's going to be more radiology reporting. I may just get up in the morning, every day in the morning, and say, look, now the cost of radiology is much. I think there is going to be a growth and abundance of services that will come up. And I'm giving that example of that financial service industry just to make that same comment that people could have and would have said, जो चीज़ 6 दिन लगते थे, if that's happening in 6 minutes, would the number of financial analysts reduce? But the number of financial analysts has gone up tremendously in the last 20, 30, 40 years since Excel, PowerPoint, everything sort of came in. I personally believe we are in a flux. So in a flux, every week a new event will happen and a new sort of mindset will come up. And you rightly said there was Boeing of Eric Schmidt. Then there was this sort of China today said that you can adopt AI, but you can't fire people. And there's going to be a government pressure on how you look at it.
So that's when regulation will catch up.
Regulation will catch up, taxation will happen. Maybe data center will say only 2 hours usage for AI, the rest of the usage is for something else. Things will come up. We are in a flux at this point of time. What Dario and Sam Altman are saying is not adding to the message and the story. So all of these things in a flux. So we may come back one day saying AI is bad, or AI is great. But at the end of the day, we all know it's the most sort of impactful technologies of our generation. I think you said wheel, I said electricity. It's of that level, and therefore it has bound to happen ups and downs. But overall, in the sinusoidal curve, it will keep on going up only. One day you will get up and you'll say no jobs. One day you will say there's abundance of services. So I think we have to just, in this period, I don't think we should take a decision one way or the other. The technology has to play out and we'll...
No, I'm not talking about decision. It's about how founders are getting together to at least get the messaging right around it. Because there is no running away. The ship has sailed. You have to figure out where you're going to steer it and how.
So I think that's really where it kind of comes down to also once applications of AI become even more and more evident, right? I think healthcare, for instance, in terms of drug formulation, in terms of, being able to understand disease progression, in able to do a lot more robust and much faster predictive analysis on some sort of, morbidity / mortality / whatever, those factors, right? There is a lot that I think once we see how it impacts our real world even more closely, right now I think AI has been a bit like a toy of sorts, if you will, right? It has improved productivity, you've played with agents, you've seen some transformation happen. There's been also some, I think, maybe some optimizations happen in the valley where, when companies have largely said, oh, we've done an AI transformation, they've seen their stock prices rise, right? So there is a bit of that that's happening right now. But if you really take almost like a long-term view of this technology, right? and you apply the view that we're not AI optimists, but we're human optimists, right? And therefore, human intelligence, human effort will be going to things that are truly human problems to solve at scale, and the more sort of basic, the where human effort is being put today, that can be better deployed through AI. I think that's a very different lens to take. The reality with any new technology, is that there will always be resistance. And we have to see it play out. I do want to say this, and we often discuss this at the governing council and also as team, that it is also where folks who are building the future of AI, we all have a responsibility as well to see it is being deployed, implemented in as inclusive a way as possible and as responsible a way as possible as well. So that definitely is a responsibility.
You need to figure out the right way to do it.
Yes, that is a very big responsibility for the creators of what is being built for tomorrow.
At a personal level, honestly, I think in the last 4 weeks, I have had 1 week I was very negative on AI, next week very positive, next week very negative, and I've had this actual sort of feeling that, look, what will happen? Like, what are kids going to learn now? What will they do in the future? So I've had this both positive and negative, but the more I've thought about it, I think to your question that you asked, it's a massive net positive. It is just, in today's world, every day some news comes out, and therefore our perception gets formed very quickly with that news and that comment coming up. And I think this has to play out in the right way.
It's heartening to know that a founder is pensive about it and also concerned about it, because due to AI, the entry barrier to even compete with the startups that you guys have or many others are building has just gone. Anyone and everyone can come in and compete head on. It took earlier a lot more infrastructure, technology, funding, all of that. Now, because thanks to AI, the barriers have been broken. It's cutthroat competition, but it also means it has made accessible to a lot of people who didn't have otherwise the other powers. Main bulk of the conversation ends here, but I'll have a quick lightning round, as we call it. One AI job title a 21-year-old should search for tonight.
AI research engineer.
One startup category that you think is overhyped today.
Training data for AI.
One Indian AI opportunity that you think is underbuilt and needs urgent
tutor.
AI tutor. Can you just elaborate what do you mean by AI tutor?
Look, fundamentally, edtech companies did not work for a combination of particularly K-12. And the reason was that distribution was tough, but also ultimately teachers cost a lot and there was a lot of teacher operations headache, right? AI, I think, allows you the opportunity to create a mass tutor for 100 million kids in this country, which can do a far better job than even potentially formal education and learning.
Right. So AI bot kind of teacher. Fair, got
I mean, there's a lot more to it, but yeah.
But yeah, got it. Okay, I'll come to Naiyya. One consumer tech category Indian founders still underestimate.
Healthcare, but positioned as consumer tech.
One AI use case in daily life that is still underbuilt and needs immediate attention.
Just a daily like a Jarvis experience where you have an assistant for every daily chore of your life.
So multi-agent Jarvis. One skill that travels globally even if your degree does not.
Curiosity.
One thing that edtech must stop selling.
Access.
One tech policy that you think needs to be rewritten.
You put me on the spot, Deepak.
That's your wish list.
I think policies around AI.
Policies around AI. People are still discovering, but there isn't any policy as yet. All right, to write. Maybe they'll get an AI bot to write one.
Only answer retrospective.
Great. Thanks a lot. Thank you so much.